Welcome to another episode of the Fanzone podcast, your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome back to another episode of the preview show brought to you by us here at the Fanzone podcast and, of course, sponsored by B2B Workwear. So a huge thank you to them for sponsoring the preview show for this season, but it is a pleasure to have you all with us. We are delighted to welcome back Elm Park Royals for another episode of the preview show. However, this time it might be a different face than you are used to. We're joined by Alex this evening. How are you, Alex?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you, gents.
Good. It's a pleasure to have you with us. For those of you who've been long-time viewers of the Fanzone podcast, you'll know that we've done a few Reading previews with Elm Park Royals. For those of you that are really into your podcast, you might have seen a couple of us appear on some of their shows too. But a warm welcome to you all in the chat. It's nice to see some faces in here already. Channel members, I'm looking at you, Jordan, and especially warm welcome to you as well. But I suppose it makes sense to get stuck in straight away with this evening's episode. And let's have a look at our season so far. Now, I'm not sure about you, but the volume for those was really loud for me. Now, if it is really loud, please let me know in the chat and we'll work on fixing those for the next episode. But season so far, let's take a look then. We won't bore you too much with the Wanderers story. I think we're all pretty familiar with where we sit after only 3 games played. But let's have a look in the camp at Reading then. Things haven't quite gone to plan for you guys, has it?
No. Not really. It's been 3 games and 3 defeats so far. And we've managed to get a goal in our last game against Wimbledon on Saturday. But yeah, it's been a slow start, very disjointed, quite disorganised. And we seem to just be lacking the it factor, a bit of spark to be able to kick off our season, really, unfortunately.
Yeah, things haven't been plain sailing, and I mean, after the elation you must have all felt after new ownership coming in and taking over, and the high really of last season, performance-wise, you were in a pretty good spot, right? Is there something that's gone wrong over the summer, perhaps in terms of recruitment, or is this something you expected?
I mean, it's to be expected a little bit. We only had, I think it was 6 players in contract at the end of summer coming into this season. So we kind of were in a place where we were going to have to recruit a lot of players. And it obviously means that it's going to be difficult to gel everybody in together. But equally, whilst the recruitment has been there and there's been elements of it which are very strong, there's also elements of it which you can look at and say, well, we've really let ourselves down in terms of squad building and let Noel Hunt down as the manager going into the season. We don't yet have a permanent striker on the books, for example. We've only got 1 lone striker in. We've only signed 1 winger, and although we managed to retain 2 of them, I think a lot of Reading fans would have said, okay, well, neither of them are really first team starters particularly. Yet we've only actually signed 1 to replace them so far. So whilst we've kind of done some good elements of recruitment, there's also a lot of it which has left things to be desired. And so after what was a very exciting end to last season, chasing the playoffs down, ended up with the takeover happening, ultimately missed the playoffs. But it was very exciting, and the summer has kind of been a bit of a popped balloon at this point. There was the opportunity for it to be quite an exciting summer and quite an exciting season for us, and it does feel a little bit like that's already slipping away, and we're only in mid-August.
Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned his name then, Noel Hunt. It's about a bit of an interesting one because, I mean, I think most neutrals, obviously, most Reading fans thought Ruben Sayers did a brilliant job. And I think the kind of consensus was if he gets poached at some point, then it'd be interesting to see what happened. But really impressive by Noel Hunt towards the end of the season, obviously. Just missed out on the playoffs. But what's the kind of consensus among Reading fans now? Is it still kind of jury's out? He's only what 20-ish games into the job, if that, or is it? Yeah, is you quite excited by him?
It's a difficult one because I think he's been here for 9 months now as first team manager, and we've had a section of the fan base pretty much the entire time, and it's probably a growing section at this point who are not necessarily hunt out now, but there is definitely a growing proportion of people who are questioning what the actual style of football that we're trying to do, how we're trying to play is. And obviously the fact that we've just lost the first 3 games of the season, that, that number is kind of growing. And last season, he took over from Sellers. We kind of took a lot of what Sellers was doing already once he left and just kind of continued it on. There was elements of the game style and the plan that changed. So we did go a little bit more defensive in away games, which, we never really did under Ruben Sellers at all. And then I think we ended up having 3 0-0s in the second half of the season away from home. And we'd never had a 0-0 at all with Ruben Sellers. So there was elements of it that changed. But unfortunately, we still look a little bit lost in terms of what the actual plan is in terms of trying to win games, other than just give the ball to Lewis Wing and hope he smacks one in from 30 yards, which, it can win you some games, but it's not going to win you every game, certainly.
Yeah, and I suppose my follow-up from that would be, what do you think needs to change for Reading to get back to where they finished last season?
I mean, first and foremost, we do need a striker. If we don't sign a striker, we are, we're looking at finishing in mid-table anyway, no matter what we do outside of that, purely because we're just not going to score enough goals. Outside of that, Noel Hunt needs to learn a lot in terms of, the players that he's now got, and needs to understand what he's going to do with them. Because currently we're really struggling to utilize our best players, I think is probably the best way to put it. Not necessarily sure on the team selection, don't know the best 11 yet. So bits of it is just a time thing. Bits of it is a personnel thing, but also bits of it are going to be on whether Noel Hunt can kind of take the ball by the horns a bit and look to show us what he actually wants to do with this squad, as opposed to what we're doing currently.
Yeah, and we'll dive a little bit more into what the game might look like, and we'll hand over to our resident stat man. You'll just have to bear with us. His videos have now increased in file size as compared to last season, apparently. He just can't get enough of himself, it looks like. So once we play the mid-roll, he'll just have to give us a second whilst we get the video up on screen. But we'll hand over to our resident stat man for our preview.
Everybody, welcome back to Get Stats On with the Stat Man. Of course, today we are previewing the Reading game, and just before we go into that, you may have to forgive the voice. It is a tad on the ropes, but of course, the Stat Man does not miss. So here we are, Reading. What are they like? Well, awful, to be completely honest. Yeah, let's get into it, shall we? They've had a very, very bad start to League One this season. Lost all 3 games. with 2 being at home as well. So that is not good in the slightest. They did beat Portsmouth in the cup, to be fair, but yeah, that is not ideal, to be completely honest, is it? They've only scored 1 goal, and to be fair, it was an absolute screamer. If you've not seen it, Lewis Wing gets the ball 30 yards out. He's supposed to have a bit of an eye injury. You couldn't tell because, my God, what a beauty. Definitely go have a look at that after the podcast if you've not seen it already. So let's move into a bit of the stats then, shall we? On the ball, they love it. They love the football. In their first 3 games, they've averaged just under 60% possession, which is quite a lot, obviously. So, to be honest, it's probably going to be another game where you end up sitting off in your 4-4-2 mid-block and counter-attacking. But is that such a bad thing? I'd argue not, because it is clearly working to some extent anyway. I mean, obviously, you've not picked up the points that you might have wanted to, but the signs are there that it could be working. So, it has been a little bit of a bad start for Bolton, but positive signs. That is all that matters at the end of the day, because it's only the start of the season. It's a very long season. So anyway, we'll move back onto Reading, shall we? When they've got the ball and they finally decide to progress it up the pitch, they like to get it wide quite often and put a cross in with over 5 per match. Now, in previous years gone by, this would be quite an issue for you. However, if you're playing Toll and Farino as your centre-halves, then they're both quite big lads, are they not? And Simon's in midfield. He is also a big man. Maybe you drop Sheehan for this game just because he's not as tall. Maybe not. Maybe you back your full-backs to stop the cross. Either way, that's a bit of a... It's not necessarily a bit of a worry, but that is what they do. They like to get the ball wide. They like to put a cross in. Now, this is the bit where you've got to listen if you've not already. They've conceded 6 goals in total from just 3.3 expected goals. So in other words, they should have conceded 3 goals and they've conceded 6, which is abysmal, is it not? Yeah, basically that means have a dig, test the keeper. Now, to be fair, I think the keeper is all right, Joe Pereira. He's decent. But, I mean, I've not seen the goals they've conceded. I will hold my hands up in that regard. But I have seen that every goal they have conceded this season, as my voice is starting to die, has come from inside the box. So maybe it's not necessarily the keeper's fault and it's more just the defence not clearing the lines, not stopping the shots that perhaps they should do. But either way, you should be scoring in this game. They've conceded 2 in every game on average. So you've got to score. And being clinical has been your issue this season, to be completely honest. But this is where you've got to put it right. The last thing I've got to say is they play a 4-3-3 formation, and they have usually Lewis Wing in the middle of the 4-3-3. And then last game they had Charlie Savage on the left of the 3 central midfielders and Fraser on the right. And then, so Fraser and Savage both like to get forward, push up into the attacking half spaces. And of course, that does leave a lot of room in midfield because Wing has got to cover a lot of ground. So when you win the ball, unlike what I said against Barnsley about getting it wide straight away, this has got to be where you're running it through the middle. So it could be a cracking game for Randall if he can finally get some touches on the ball, because he has struggled to do that in every game. Of course, he might not get picked, but I believe he is the man to choose for this game, at least. Anyway, I'll let you enjoy the rest of the podcast, and I'm sure I am going to see you in about 10 minutes. So, see you then.
It is marvellous, as always, from our resident stat man. He never fails to miss a beat. Alex, what would you think of that preview? Is that a fair analysis? I mean, I hope you didn't take some of his phrases too personally, but...
For the most part, yeah. We've struggled this season. I mean, you look at the fact that we've conceded 6 goals from 3 games so far. 3 of them have been from set pieces. So we are struggling at set pieces massively. There's probably an element of misfortune as well. The first goal we conceded on the opening day was an own goal. We conceded an own goal at the weekend as well, both deflections, which the keeper could do nothing about. So it's, whilst it's been a difficult start defensively, I don't think it will carry on necessarily quite as bad as it's been. We should, touch wood, we should improve slightly with that going forwards. We are struggling to score goals. We've, only scored that one, as I said, through Lewis Wing. It's been difficult. We just don't have the options up front. And I know we play 4-3-3. We play two wingers and a central striker, but the central striker has been rotated already twice so far this season after 3 games. We're not settled on that at all. Paddy Lane, who we signed from Portsmouth to play on the right-hand side, is currently injured. No one knows when he's going to be back yet. So, and then, the piece around space in the middle of the park is definitely something which we noticed on Saturday. Even though we've got a lot of the ball, there's an awful lot of space between when we have the ball. So when Reading are in possession, there's an awful lot of space between when Lewis Wing picks up the ball and anybody in front of him. He plays incredibly deep now. It's almost playing as like a third centre back when we've got the ball. So there's a big gap in between the one of the midfield and the two in front of them. I would hope that that's going to change tomorrow with some of the lineup, but I guess we'll come on to that in a moment.
Indeed, and right on cue, we'll head over now and we'll bring you our injury update and the latest team news for both of your sides. Was my mic on mute then? Wow. All right, I thought I'd muted myself. Sorry, ladies and gents. I'm a bit rusty. I've not done a show in a little while. Injury news then. Talk us through the lineup that you're expecting to see come Wednesday for Reading.
So injury-wise, we currently are without Paudie O'Connor, who we signed during the summer as our kind of marquee centre-back signing to replace Tyler Bindon. He hasn't played a game yet for us this season, been injured, meant to be back towards the end of August, but we haven't had any sort of update in terms of whether he's going to play or not this month. Gerald Dorsett's been out with concussion since the first game of the season, who's a centre-back and the left-back, generally plays left-back, but he's been out for the last 2 games. Also missed the Carabao Cup game last week, so it's unlikely that he's going to play. Even if he is back, I don't think he'll be put straight back into the starting lineup. And then, as I said earlier, Paddy Lane is out injured at the moment. Should be back maybe at the weekend, but very unlikely, I think, to play against Bolton in midweek. Who's the right winger, played for Portsmouth previously and got promoted out of League One 2 seasons ago. Not going to play. In terms of the starting lineup for Wednesday night, it's a difficult one because of how poor we played on Saturday against Wimbledon in our loss. I think a lot of Reading fans will probably be expecting changes. So it's a tough one to really predict how deep those changes are going to go. I think one change that we'll definitely see will be Stickland at the back. He plays centre back. He's come through the academy. He's 21. He's played about 10 games for Reading. Started the season because of O'Connor's injury. I don't think he'll be starting on Wednesday. I think it will probably be Derek Williams, who's just signed from MLS from Atlanta United. Played a lot of games in the EFL for Bristol City and Blackburn previously, before he moved over to the MLS 4 or 5 years ago. He's probably going to start, I think, at centre-back alongside Burns. Pereira will be in goal. Left-back is a difficult one. Matty Jacob was very poor on Saturday. Made a defensive error to cost us the first goal. He's on loan currently from Hull. We've only really got one other option at left-back, though, currently, with John Ryan, who's a 21-year-old who's not played a league game before for Reading. And it will be interesting to see whether he gets a start. I really rate him, but he hasn't had a start in the league yet, so that will be an interesting one. Right back, we did play Ahmed, who's a 17-year-old, on Saturday after he really impressed in the cup game. I think he'll probably go back to the bench and we'll probably move back to Kelvin Abrifa playing right back. Then the three in midfield, as you say, Lewis Wing's an ever-present as long as he's not injured. His eye injury was apparently very kind of like minor, didn't really affect him at all. And he came back straight away after that. The two sitting in front of Wing are the interesting ones. So Saturday it was Savage and Fraser. The problem we've got is that Savage and Fraser are being asked to do quite similar roles, and neither of them are really ball carriers. So since Saturday, the kind of the vast amount of discussion amongst Reading fans has been that we lack a ball carrier. And even before, during the game and before the game on Saturday, was we desperately need one of, if not both of, Ben Elliott and Kamari Doyle to be playing on Wednesday night, because otherwise we will just struggle to create anything again. They're probably our two most creative players on the ball. And I would expect at least one of them to start in central midfield. I would imagine it would be Elliott, with Doyle maybe getting a start out wide. But it's a bit of a 50-50, which one will start where. Then up top, again, it's a difficult one to pin down still, because neither of the strikers have impressed so far. Iabachman he looked good in the game against Portsmouth, and then in the game against Wimbledon, he was fairly anonymous. So will he get dropped again for Omani, who's I think he's now played 4 games for us and yet to have a shot, let alone a goal. It's kind of desperate times up front, and I think it could be either of them, really. And then on the right, it probably will be Kamari Doyle if he starts. And then on the left, it will be Daniel Chirua, who we signed from Bundesliga 2 in summer, who looks really exciting. He's got a lot of pace. Very, very fast on the ball, wants to really run at players and kind of drive with the ball. He plays on the left. He's kind of one of these players who, when he picks up the ball, you're very excited, but equally, one moment he could look incredible, could look like the next Messi, and the next moment he could very easily carry on running and leave the ball behind him and not realise. So there's probably going to be changes from Saturday. I think however many changes we make, Reading fans will say that wasn't enough changes, we should have made more, given how we played at the weekend. But I would probably expect us to make 3 changes on Wednesday night.
Yeah, certainly seems like you've got your work cut out to make that rhythm and that 11 that's going to start picking up points as the season goes on. From a Wanderers camp, we've not had the most recent injury update or team news from our reliable The Bolton News just yet. But you've probably all seen that recently we've had a positive injury update, which usually is a sign of good things. However, it's usually almost always followed by bad news. It just seems to be the way that Wanderers go about their business. We get some players back and then half of them disappear again. But the latest news is that Kyle Dempsey is possibly back in the mix sooner than expected. It'll be nice to see him back. I think this is probably make or break time for him. He's got an appointment, I think he's maybe had his appointment with his surgeon. We're just waiting for an update on that, but he's been out on the grass. So we're hopeful that he'll be back in training relatively soon. Some more positive news with Will Forrester. Obviously, he was out with a nasty hamstring injury, and has had absolutely rotten luck. Really found his better form under Schumacher in the second half of last season, but didn't manage to get through pre-season with the injury that he picked up, which was unfortunate. But he's possibly coming back into training as well pretty soon. Vic is a bit further behind than the rest, so not too much to report back on that. But Sam Dalby trained all week without any issues with his hamstring injury, which is very, 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 very needed. I think Mason Burstow has actually done an excellent job I think I was more than impressed with his work rate against Barnsley. I think you could tell that he was tired towards the end of the game. But I mean, he puts himself about, and I think I said it in the group chat. How long has it been since we had a striker like that, and how long have we needed one for? But Richard Taylor, who I've also been pretty impressed with in pre-season, looks like he'll be not too far away as well. Obviously, he picked up that injury in our pre-season game against Hibs. So they're going to need a bit of time to get back up and running and up to speed, it looks like. But hopefully returns aren't too far away for either of those. So there's your team news. And it makes sense to get into player swap, which I think might be an interesting one. Now then, just in a comment in the chat, Burstow had the fewest touches versus Barnsley, and I'm not disputing that fact. I'm not sure what the context of this is, whether you're saying that that's because he's CAC or whether the service was bad or what. But yes, he did have the fewest touches. You're absolutely right, David. I think the service into him was notably poor against Barnsley. And I think showed in his frustration at the touch that he did have, being booting the ball into the advertising boards, much to the delight of the Wanderers fans in that away end. But player swap, let's have a little think. It makes sense to hand over to our guest first. For those of you who are watching for the first time, player swap is a segment of the podcast where the opposition podcast takes a player from the Wanderers team and adds them into their squad and vice versa. So, Alex, if you could have your pick of any of the Wanderers players, who are you going for and why?
So you told me about this before we started, and I was really excited to sit there and think of all the good Bolton strikers that have scored against us in the last few seasons. You know, Aaron Collins or Dion Charles. I was thinking, either of these would be great. We desperately use one of those kind of players, and then realised that, of course, they've both now left, and that I'm picking between someone like Adebayo, say his name properly. Basically, I was picking a striker no matter what because we need one. So I'm kind of left with not a lot of choice, really. I think I'm probably going to have to just pick John McAtee. I don't really think I can pick Burstow, being that he's a lone player. Don't think that one counts.
No, we were excluding lone players from the swapping list, but yeah, McAtee managed to get a goal against Barnsley, which was a good, I think, hopefully a good boost of confidence for him. I think he needed that, albeit a little.
I have to say, I would have preferred to take Collins or Charles for that matter. Either of them would have worked for me.
Yeah, I mean, Dion Charles doesn't seem to be having the most pleasant time down at Huddersfield. Maybe you'd find some better form at Reading, or find some minutes actually at Reading. But Ben, we'll go over to you. Who is your choice of Reading player that you are bringing into the Wanderers camp?
Yeah, Cole's been dying to hear my voice for a good 5 minutes now, so here you are, Cole. Yeah, quite a few options. I mean, a few that are injured. I mean, I would love to have Paddy O'Connor or Paddy Lane. I think I was chatting to a mate the other day just about the goal we conceded on Saturday and how it was just kind of really poor. And it seems like we've kind of forgot that we conceded 70-odd goals last season. And ignored our defence really to make improvements. Obviously, Max Conway's come in, Richard Taylor's come in, but has been injured. So I would love to have been able to get Paddy O'Connor this summer. The other one, Paddy Lane, obviously, I just mentioned, who's injured. Started in Portsmouth's title-winning season a few years ago. We kind of need a backup right winger. He would do, but I think the main man's Lewis Wing, isn't he? Collins is, as you just mentioned, is a guy you could hit them from anywhere and put them in the top corner when he was on the mood. Lewis Wing's on another level in that regard. He can, as he did on Saturday, pick up the ball 30 yards out and just smack it top corner. I wouldn't mind having that every so often. So yeah, even though our midfield depth's pretty good, I think I'd take Lewis Wing.
I'm in a very similar boat, and your comment there about midfield depth being pretty solid. I'm also going to pick a midfielder. No, I was in a really close toss up between Charlie Savage and Lewis Wing. I think the idea of Charlie Savage learning a thing or two from Josh Sheehan is quite an attractive prospect. But that being said, I think the 10 and that creative outlet and that ability to kick a ball really hard from really far away and whack it in the back of the net is something that we lack in quite a lot of areas. We have it on the wings, but centrally, it feels like there's still a little bit of a gap there. The statman mentioned in his preview that Randall has struggled to get on the ball in most of the games, and that's really been quite noticeable. The ball is distributed out wide a lot, and I think that's down to the talent of the wingers that we've got. Doesn't seem like there's very many options to progress that ball inwards, though, unless it's being flung into the box. And notoriously, our delivery into the box isn't the best. So I think I would go for Lewis Wing just based on that, because we desperately need just a little bit of a spark in that tank. I'm hoping that Randall will get that. But
it's an interesting one that you've both picked, Lewis Wing. I think there's a perception with Wing that he's this like sits behind the striker, just knocks it into the top corner. But I think if you guys won't get the opportunity, but when we watch him every week, he just isn't that player. He sits so deep. He's basically a defensive midfielder at this point in his career. He does obviously, Saturday is a prime example. He's great at running onto the ball in space and scoring, but he's not the I think he's not the creative player, not the number 10 and creative player that I think a lot of opposition fans see him as. Even though he does get an awful lot of assists and goals, he's just not that playing in the hole type of player. It's interesting that he's kind of garnered this reputation. I think I guess it's probably because of his goal involvements mainly, but yeah, it's interesting that you've got this, because I feel like it's quite a common almost misconception amongst opposition fans.
Interesting.
It is interesting, actually. We've had a comment in the chat saying, "Don't give up on Randall. He's coming good, that lad. I'm convinced of it. Not into the blonde streaks, though."
Nothing wrong with blonde.
I will leave the criticism of haircuts to one side. I, for one, am definitely not one to speak on that. We've got a guest backstage who's nodding along. Who probably also isn't qualified to speak on haircuts. We'll bring you him on very shortly, and you can all talk about his hair. And we'll maybe we won't do player swap. We'll do Barnet swap next segment. But yeah, I'm confident that Joe Randall will find his form, and hopefully he'll find his feet and learn how to use them, because it feels like he's not doing it enough as much as I would like him to this season. But yeah, we will have patience, and hopefully he will come good. Right, we will head into our final segment before we bring you our double header preview, and we welcome our next guest. It's What's the Score? Now, I've not done an episode where we've played that mid-roll yet, and I'm not sure if anyone's explained the context of Colin's pose right there. We all were instructed to do certain poses and do whatever we want, some of them being pretend you scored, pretend you're thinking about something. That section that Colin was partaking in was choose your own, and he decided he was going to do an impersonation of Usain Bolt. Not quite sure why, but that's what he was doing. I'll leave that all to your imaginations. Alex, I digress. What's the score? What are your score predictions for Wednesday, please? I think you're on mute.
I am on mute, you're right. We lost 5-2 last season and 5-2 the season before at Bolton. So it almost feels inevitable that we're probably going to lose 5-2 again this season. No, I mean, in all seriousness, I don't think we will get anything from the game. We just are struggling to create chances too much at the moment. Whether we can defend a little bit better and maybe not make an individual error is probably going to be the only way that we can really look to pick up a point. But I don't think that's going to happen. There's only going to be 2 sessions of training from Saturday to Wednesday before we're playing again. So I'm not sure they're really going to be able to iron out those kind of errors. So I'm going to go for 2-0 to Bolton.
Interesting. Ben, how are you feeling ahead of the game? What are your score predictions?
Yeah, pretty confident. I mean, I think it's been an okay start so far. A pretty reasonable start. 3 decent performances, I would say. I mean, very good performance against Plymouth. Good performance in defeat against Stockport, who looked like one of the best teams in division. And then an okay performance at Barnsley, who probably maybe deserve to win in balance of play, obviously against 10 men for 40 minutes. You'd like to think you would be. So, and it's, with all respect, our easiest game so far against a team who've struggled quite a lot this season. I would like to think we can assert our dominance here. I'm going to go for, like you said, I don't think we've got a 5-2 in us again. I think we're a bit more wasteful, and I'm not sure you have 2 goals in you. So I think I'm going to go 2-0 as well.
That's a low blow.
It's probably fair.
I stand corrected as well. Colin's impression was of Lofty the Lion, not Usain Bolt. The two are obviously easily confused. Now then, I'm really struggling with this one. There's part of me that thinks we'll blow you away, and finally we might see a joined performance where it looks like we're competent at both ends and not just one. Part of me also thinks that we could be in for a tough game and we'll make it really hard work, probably unnecessarily. But I'm erring on the side of optimism, as I usually do. Whether that optimism is misplaced, we will wait and see. But I'm going to go for a 2-0 Wanderers win, hoping for a clean sheet, and hoping that maybe Sharman Lowe will face some shots and save them, because there seems to be a strange criticism floating around on Twitter that because he's faced like 8 shots and conceded 4 or something, that he should go in the bin. Personally, I'll hold off on that judgment just for a little while anyway. But yeah, 2-0 Whites, and I think an important 3 points to set us on our way. But will hopefully be a little bit more of a smoother ride over the next couple of fixtures. But we play Wigan next month, so I'll keep that one. I'll keep the lid on that one. But that rounds off this evening's episode of the preview show. Thank you all very much for joining us in the live chat for this section. We are, of course, eagerly awaiting the arrival of our next guest. For those of you who have watched the preview show before, you will know exactly who we're talking about. It is Jake Tong, and he will be representing Lincoln City as we head into the next segment of the preview show. But Alex from Elm Park Royals, thank you very much for joining us. It has been a pleasure talking to you this evening, my friend.
Nice one. Thank you very much. Good luck for the season. Not so much for Wednesday, but I need it.
Yes, thank you very much. And if you want to find out any more about Elm Park Royals, then if you check the episode description, you will find out a link to their Twitter, and you can find out everything you need to know about them over there. And you will also find a link to our next guest, who we'll bring in now. It is Jake Tong. Jake, how are you this evening?
Wagwan, boys. How are we?
Very good, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us.
No problem. It's been a busy night. I finished work, been on the radio for 2 hours, and now I get to enjoy the company of you two fine specimens. So I'm feeling good, boys. I know, honestly. Tell me about it.
You were quick up the stairs as well, I must say.
I ran, mate. I ran up. Then I realised I forgot my drink in the car, so I had to run down and then ran back up, and then realised I forgot my apple, so I've left it. So I'm starving at the minute, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure to have you with us as we tackle the next segment of the preview show. Let us know in the chat as well if you prefer a little bit longer of a preview show episode. Obviously, we've got a double game week, and to save you all from having to tune into 15 million episodes and to us producing 15 million episodes, it makes sense to tie them all into one. So we'll kick things off, and Ben, I will hand over the reins to you.
Thank you, my friend. Here you go, Cole. This is what you want, more of my voice. Yeah, Jake, lovely to have you. We'll jump in straight in with the season so far. So, Jake, talk to me. 3 games in, 2 wins, 1 loss. How's it been so far?
Can I just say I'm a big fan of the interludes. I don't know who's put them together. I'm assuming it's you, Timbo. So big up that. They're good, mate. I enjoy them. I'm looking forward to one where we've maybe got McQuaid on. I don't know if there's one coming, but I hope there is.
Oh yeah, you'll see.
Season so far, well, played 4 in all comps,
Yeah.
won 3, lost 1. So it's a decent start to the season. 2 home games, which we've won pretty convincingly. Reading, I'm sure the chap from Elm Park Royals has just told you about. We basically dismantled them for a long part of it. No, we didn't. We got they were a good side, and we beat them by being pretty good ourselves. And the win on Saturday against Plymouth was very comfortable, despite it looking slightly closer than what it did. It maybe could have been and should have been more than 3 goals that the deficit was before Plymouth decided to turn into prime Brazil and start showing themselves up a little bit. But yeah, pretty good, those 2 games. The Wimbledon game, I think, is disappointing because
Look,
I'm going to blame a ref. What a shock! I don't know if you chaps have seen the incident, which has got Adam Jackson sent off, but it's quite frankly ridiculous. And it causes us to lose to Wimbledon, which was pretty embarrassing because they had that bloody Womble bashing the bin for 60 minutes, and it's not really a vibe. So it was a bad one, but yeah, no, it's been good. A win it over Harrogate in the Carabao Cup as well, a pretty convincing win at that. So it's been pretty good. I'm in a good mood tonight. We've made a signing tonight, so I'm in a pretty good damn mood at the minute. So yeah, it's been a good season so far. Things are going well. Obviously, there's still more to do in the transfer market because we've lost some key players, and I'm sure you're going to ask me about all of them, particularly one little Scottish man who can't keep his mouth shut. Not bitter. But yeah, no, it's been a good start to the season. 3 wins, you can't complain, can you?
Yeah, I know. I was just going to move on to the transfer market, and obviously you've just mentioned Ethan Arahon, your best mate, and you're the best mate, Paddy O'Connor, we mentioned before. He's gone to Reading.
I saw that and gave you the middle finger, to be honest. I'm glad you didn't see that.
Yeah. In all seriousness, you've had a few key players left this summer. Obviously, Jovan Makama as well, mainly moves to the Championship, among a few others. How do you see your squad right now, and where else do you think you've got to improve?
Work to be done. Obviously, you mentioned the big 4. Sean went to Huddersfield. I find it crazy, right? We've lost Sean, Pordy, and Ethan to teams who finished 10th, 8th, and 7th in the league. We came 11th, right? Does that not show you the disparity? I'm not trying to dig a hole, but that shows you the disparity of finances in this league, because teams that finish matter of how many points did you get? 60, like early 60 points last season, 65, whatever it was.
I remember, to be honest. Yeah.
3 points in front of us, and you can just go out and buy like our best players. Like, that's totally not cool. So please don't do it again. Consider that a warning.
Obviously, as you said before, totally not bitter or anything.
Yeah, no, not at all. No, I'm just gonna.
I think this perfectly summarises the attraction of Colin Yates for playing for Bolton Wanderers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to play in front of Colin.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe it's the shades or something. Maybe it's your jeans, Timbo. We don't know.
Maybe.
I'm looking forward to seeing them on Saturday. You best be wearing the big jeans.
I'll make sure I put them on just for you.
Fantastic. But yeah, no. Going back to Sean's obviously gone to Huddersfield, where he's reportedly tripled his salary. Pordy's gone on a 4-year contract to Reading. I can't blame him for taking that opportunity. Ethan, come on to him. A little bit disappointed in him. Jovan, great move for Jovan. because he had a very good back end of last season. And to become the club's record sale at a deal that could rise to £2 million, that's fantastic for an academy prospect. So that's given us a little bit of money. We got a development fee for Sean. Look, with Ethan, I think he's come out and done an article with Mark Isles, your local reporter, basically slamming Lincoln by saying that we overvaluated him, and it just looks quite messy. If you want, in my opinion, I thought Ethan was going to go to the Championship. Genuinely. He was extraordinary in 23-24 when we nearly got in the playoffs. We should have got in the playoffs, but we didn't because we bottled a penalty on the final day against Pompey, and don't I know about it. But yeah, he had a very good 23-24. I think by the sounds of this article, he wanted to go then, which was fair enough. I'm surprised we didn't have bids for last summer for Ethan. None of them matched evaluation. So last season, Ethan compared to the year before was poor. Like, he was nowhere near the level of last. Still good for this level, still a very good performer, but nowhere near the monster that he was in 23-24. And I think that's what called the interest and allowed him to come to a team like Bolton, like other teams that were interested, like them kebab lot up the road, supposedly. But I can't help but feel a little bit let down by not only Ethan, the way he's left, because it all seems very bitter. He clearly wanted to leave, which is fine. I'd rather get rid of a player that doesn't want to be there, because that's going to hold your current team back, isn't it? But like I say, I did expect him to go into the Championship, and for him to end up at Bolton, you're a big football club, no doubt about it, right? I have no qualms with that. But I was a year ago, it was Sheffield United, Millwall, Coventry. The next summer for it to be Wigan and Bolton. Do you know what I mean?
Don't group us with them, but yeah, I know.
Well, I will do, because they were after him as well, and they had a bid accepted. So look, I it's a good move for him, guaranteed.
Not angry, just disappointed.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in his agent. I said it at the time. I said his agents let him down. I stand by that.
I do agree. To be honest, I'm surprised he didn't end up in the Championship. It sounded like he just wanted to move at any price, but at any cost, really. Yeah. And
that sort of person I don't want around. Clearly.
That is something that does kind of look. Obviously, we've got a good player. You're happy about that. That is something that kind of worries me a little bit. Is if in a couple of years' time, say he has 2 good seasons with us and he wants to leave and he doesn't match up, we know matches our valuation. Does the same thing happen where he down tools and whatever? It's that's something for later down the line. But
is that the only thing that worries you though, Ben? Because something else should worry you. Do you remember this game from a year ago?
Yeah, that too.
You'll see that. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me, that's coming.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't remember what he's referring to, he got 2 yellow cards in about 5 minutes, didn't he? Just before half time.
Yeah, cost us the game. What an idiot.
Yeah, there you go. Not bitter or anything, but yeah. So transfers done, season to start done. What is the kind of consensus around Michael Skubala now? Obviously, when he first came in, he was the hero, wasn't he?
He was,
and had an unbelievable season to get you just outside the playoffs. Yeah, Last season was a little bit not disappointing because you finished mid-table, and it's always a decent season for a club the size of Lincoln. But
stab me in the back there,
stick that in there.
Mate. Yeah, but it was 4-2, by the way.
Yeah, where did that get you?
Coming for me.
Yeah.
I'll come for you as well, mate. Just to let you
know. But yeah, where is the general mood on Skubala now?
Well, to be honest, you're asking probably the most hot-headed Lincoln fan who probably after we lost a couple of games last year, I was calling for his head because he was clueless and had no idea what he was doing. But in fairness to him, I think what he wanted to do when he first come to Lincoln was play a 4-back, and because under Mark Kennedy we've been playing a 3-back, he felt a little bit inclined to play that way of football, and because it did so well in that sort of 6-month period, he sort of stuck with it, and I think that was his downfall. Because as soon as we went to the 4-back last season, I remember we had a game against Stockport, who were up in the table. They had Louis Barry. We swept them aside. We had Reading, who were a team that were up there as well. We swept them aside. And then we went to the 3-back again, and I was basically calling for his head or whatever. And then we went back to the 4-back, and we did really well. Like, we ended, I think, from March to the end of the season, we had a really tough run of games. But I think we were 8th in the form table for maybe like the last 12, 15 games of the season. which was a sign for positivity. And he's recruited for the fullback. I mean, I'm sure you've seen, obviously, Frankie Okoronkwo. Don't know if that's how you say it, but that's his name. He's come in today from Everton. He's a wide attacking player. Riley Towler's come in. Sonny Bradley's come in. So he's recruited for this fullback system. And we've got players hopefully coming in. I mean, hopefully by the time we play you guys, we've got our Arahan replacement in the building. It sounds very close that Ivan Varfolomiev, that's what I'm going to go with. Hopefully he's signing on hopefully later on this week. But yeah, no, 4-2-3-1, it's been good. And this season it has worked. So I think Lincoln fans are a little bit more open to it. Obviously, given the insight that I sometimes get through players and things like that, it's very players that aren't playing as well. It's quite easy for them to basically sit and moan and say things about the manager. Maybe I took those a little bit to heart last season and listened to him a little bit too much. But yeah, no, I think majority of us are behind him. And you know, the way that he started this season off, I don't think really you can blame many fans for being Michael Skabala in.
Yeah, not much reason to not back him from the season so far. What, just before we move on, what are the expectations then for Lincoln this season? Because as you say, this time last season did feel kind of like this is the season to push on for the playoffs. Obviously, it didn't quite happen. Is there a bit of a reevaluation of where you should expect Lincoln to be season upon season, or is it let's go for playoffs again? On if we finish outside, it's not too much of a big deal. What's the expectation?
£1 million question, McQuaid. That is, you're a smart man. You should be paid for your questioning. You don't have a question. What's the expectation? I think it comes down to a couple of things. I think Lincoln, we've been in this league now this is our 7th season in League One. I think when you're in a certain league, fans get a little bit bored if you're in the same league over and over again. And we're not stagnating because we've come top half, which I think if you said that to me 14 years ago, that we were going to be a top half League One, thank you, David, that'll happen. I've got money on that as well. If you'd have said to me 14 years ago, you're going to have 4 consecutive years of finishing in the top half of League One, I probably would have had you sectioned, to be honest, Ben, because I couldn't see it coming from anywhere. But I think Lincoln fans are enjoying the fact that we're a top half League One team. I think that's the expectation. But then it comes back to things like budget, and you look at League One and the finances involved. I mean, Lincoln will have last season, for comparison, we had the 19th biggest budget in League One and came 11th. Only one team outperformed us in terms of budget compared to where you finish in the table, and that was Leyton Orient. They had a similar budget to us and came in the playoffs. It is happening less and less that a club with our budget can get in the playoffs. And I think as a club, we've understood that. So I think the expectation for most fans is to finish top half would be a good season, because you guys have thrown money around, clearly. You've got the Huddersfield, who are just, £3 million Joe Taylor sat on the bench.
Yeah.
Dion Charles, what was he, 750 grand? You sold him for a year ago, just over.
I think Huddersfield's innings have got a bit under the radar because of Birmingham last season. I think in any other normal kind of 2-year cycle in League One, people were going, Jesus, it's crazy money what they spent. I know we spent as well, but
Blackpool. I mean, Blackpool as well. They've paid £1 million for this Dale Taylor fella, and they've chucked Fraser Horsfall on a 4-year contract at 28. Reading as well. Paudie O'Connor will have made significant more money at Reading. So but Lincoln fans don't like hearing about the budget because they see it as an excuse. But I think top half would be a good season. But I think if we can at least challenge for the playoffs, so maybe fall away March time, maybe fall away April time, I think that would be good. I personally think we can finish in the top 10. I think the signings that we are due to make excite me a lot. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'd like to think we can maybe come top 10, which would be that would be in League One. That would be 6 out of 7 seasons where we've come in the top half. So that would be ideal.
Yeah, not too bad. Fair assessment. It is absolutely right what you say about fans do get easily bored, and there is an expectation of year-on-year progression when sometimes it just isn't possible. As you say, when you do have the lowest budget, one of the lowest budgets in the league, you can't really expect to outperform it by that much every single season. And if there is a bit of a drop off, it doesn't necessarily mean you've failed. It just means you've not overperformed by as much as you did the year before. So yeah, you are right. I've just looked in the top left corner. We're 54 minutes in, so let's get a move on. We'll jump into the injury update. It's all right. He'll have a go at me later. I can see you chuckling away. Did you like that one?
I'm just wondering what sort of injury you'd sustain there, McQuaid, if you can give us some information.
It was a sprained ankle. Yeah.
Yeah, Chris looks very attentive, doesn't he?
He was. Yeah, he was.
Wait on that. Yeah, let me rub that for you, mate. Yeah, no
magic spray out. Yeah, he was good. Yeah.
He was disappointed it wasn't a groin injury, weren't you, Chris?
Unfortunately, Chris is in the chat to defend himself tonight. So yeah, let's just say yeah. Let's say he was. Injury update, Jake. How is it looking on?
Oh God.
On that front
where are we? Jack Moylan is a doubt, which is a real shame, really, because I'm sure you've seen it covering the leagues yourself. He's a really talented player. Come over from Shelbourne, had a really good season in 23-24. Got injured at the back end of last year. Raced to get fit for the back end of the season. He played against Wrexham on the final day. He's had a really good pre-season. He's been given the number 10 shirt, which indicates that he's going to be a big player for Lincoln. And then at Harrogate in the Cup on Tuesday, he got absolutely crocked in the penalty area, and the ref didn't give a penalty or punish the player at all. And it's the same ankle which he injured last season, which is a real shame because he's a real big player. Lewis Monsma rolled his ankle in pre-season in Portugal. Apparently he's supposed to be close and on the grass again. But Tyler Walker rolled his ankle in Spain last pre-season and didn't come back at all. So that's quite concerning. And Lewis is a player that has a significant injury record with back-to-back ACL. So I'm not holding out any hope for that. Apart from that, we're fine. But I say apart from that, we don't have many pros in the building at all. I think we have 26 now, but 3 are goalkeepers and 5 are first or second year pros. So you can really see that once you take probably 6 of those are out because they're all young players or not going to play. We've only really got 18 players that are going to fit. And if you get an injury and a suspension like we have with Adam Jackson because of that stupid referee in Wimbledon, then you really are down to the bare bones. And we are, so much so that we do need numbers. But hopefully we'll certainly have. We've clearly got Frankie in time for Saturday, but hopefully Ivan is in as well. So, but yeah, no, that's it. We're looking. I say we're looking healthy. We're not looking healthy at all. We're in a bit of a bad spot at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see if there's any more signings through the door before we play you on Saturday. Just in terms of how you're going to line up, what's it going to look like? As you say, you've moved on from the 3 at the back to the 4-2-3 and the 4-3-3 towards the end of last season, and that's what you played when I think we played last season. I can't remember what the score was.
I'll remind you if you like. Do you want me to remind you?
If you have to.
What was it for?
Yeah, whatever. Go on, how are you going to line up?
Yeah, well, your goal scorer from that day, I don't think he's around anymore, is he? Because he was the only player that turned up for you lot against us last season, to be fair to him. Yeah, how we're going to line it? It'll be George Wickens in goal. He's clearly the number 1 pick. One of your favourites, Tendai Darikwa, former tick at right back. Outstanding. Genuinely outstanding. He's such a good player. I imagine about the... You what?
What do you call him then? A former
tick. A former tick.
Tick. All right. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, not sure how I feel about that, Timbo. Actually, maybe that's a bit more controversial than Eugene's last year. I imagine it will be Tom Hamer and Sonny Bradley. Sonny Bradley, the Paulie O'Connor replacement at the back, pretty much. Tom Hamer had a really good season last year. Riley Towler's probably going to have to play left back. I don't think we'll have a left back in for Saturday, which is a shame for us. But he's done all right to deputise there. But he looks like a centre back playing left back, if you know what I mean. He's not an out and out left back. He's not the same sort of person as Sean Rowan, who zips on and puts the ball in the box. He's more of a defensive left back. You double pivot in midfield. I'm guessing, which fills me with dread, is Conor McGrandles or Conor McBackpass, I call him. With either Ethan Hamilton or Tom Bayliss. I suspect it's probably going to be Tom Bayliss, who's had a decent start to the season, scored on Saturday against Plymouth. I'd imagine it'll be Rico Hackett one side, Rob Street the other. Rob Street had a great loan spell at Doncaster last year where he scored, I think, nearly 15 goals in League Two.
So you almost weekly get very excited about him on Twitter.
I love Rob Street to absolute bits. And all these Donny fans are so bitter. You know how I am with Arahan. Yeah, actually, I'm dealing with this almost every time about Rob Street. So I imagine he'll start on the right with Freddie Draper in the 10. Probably not someone that you think might play in the 10, but he's a big physical player and can batter centre halves, and he draws attention to him because of that, and that often leaves space for, in my opinion, the league's best number 9 and James Collins up front. So I chuckle at me all you like, McQuaid. I'm pretty confident in saying he plays for Bolton and probably most other League One teams. So you can't argue with his record, certainly at Lincoln. 10 in 20 last season. He's already scored twice this year.
Fair enough.
Game, so, but yeah, no, I'm guessing that's how we line up. Whether we see if Frankie, Akoran, Quo can force the way in on Tuesday night if he plays well, potentially. You've then got the likes of Eric Ring that might come and impact the game. You've got Ben House, who's a really good pressing centre forward that might come on. Zayn Okoro might be a new name for you. I think he played some minutes in the game in April. A really highly rated youngster as well. So, and that's how we're going to play it. And they're the possible subs. I don't have the information because Michael's not told me personally yet. But I'm sure if you pay me enough money, I might tell you.
Yeah, you're on first name basis, aren't you? But not quite that.
Yeah, me and Scoops are like that, mate.
Scoops.
Oh, God. That is terrible. I'm surprised actually. You mentioned James Collins there, and we'll touch on player swap a little bit later on in the episode. But you mentioned you've only mentioned Joe Taylor once this episode. Are you finally over that?
I'm over it, mate. I'm over it. Who? Joe Taylor. Who's he?
You know what Jake's like? Lincoln always have the best something in the league at some point.
Yeah,
last year it was Cody O'Connor last season, wasn't it?
Yeah, correct.
And it was Arahan the year before, and now
it was Lucas Jensen and Lasse Sorensen the year before.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And to be fair, a couple of years ago, it was Brennan Johnson and Morgan Rogers. You're gonna struggle to beat that.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I mean, we did have Conor Bradley and James Trafford in the same team, so yeah, it's not too bad.
Have either of them gone for 60 million quid yet?
I mean, Trafford's now like
close enough.
Yeah, but they're gonna sign Donnarumma, and he's gonna be forgotten about. So he might as well be on loan at Bolton for all I care. Impop.
Whatever. Talking about getting players in. Let's go on to player swap. So yes, player swap new for this season. Let's jump straight into it, Jake. Apart from obviously one man in midfield, you would love to have it back at your club. Who out of our other brilliant players would you like to take?
No, he's dead to me, mate. You know, when we sign Ivan, he's going to go through the back of Ethan. And he's going to get himself carded, and I'm going to absolutely love it. Who would I have at Bolton? Well, we need a left back, and to be honest, your left back
there at Wanderers.
I've been very impressed with your left back at the minute, Max Conway, that had a good year at Crewe last year. It was very, very, very good. I know I spoke to Gab about him over the summer, thinking that Bolton might not need him, but it turns out he's been your first choice. So I think Max Conway, in terms of what we need, is someone that I do like. You do have a number of players that I'm a fan of. I like the lad from Brighton, Cozy Dubry. He's made a good start, hasn't he, to life at Bolton. If we had kept Jovan McCarmer, maybe wouldn't have said that, but you know he's cleared off, so fair enough. In terms of, who else have you got that's pretty decent? Josh Sheehan's all right, isn't he? He's not bad, you know.
Yeah, not bad.
Player. He's not a bad player. Aaron Morley, yeah, he's all right. Whether he gets into our midfield, I don't know. I'm only messing with you. Of course he does.
Back pass, yeah.
Yeah, back pass, mate. Just you wait until you see these back passes in all the glory on Saturday, spraying across the tough sheet. It's going to be. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I'm purring at the thought of watching it tomorrow night, to be honest. So, yeah, no. I think because of what we need, I'd probably take Max Conway because we need a left back, and he's a very good. He's very much like Sean Rowan in the build that he's very good going forward. I watched your game against Stockport, Ben, as well, McQuaid, as you know, and saw you on the TV and laughed, quite frankly, at your appearance. And he looked very good at the post, didn't he? And he's a very forward-thinking left-back. And I think in the Michael Scabala system, that is exactly what we need from a left-back. So I bet you weren't expecting me to say Max Conway, but yeah, he's one probably that I'd take at the minute.
No, fair enough. To be honest, he's probably one of our best players this season so far.
You what, Timbo?
So development loan might not be the right move for him. He's getting game time.
Development loan. Who do you think you are, mate?
I couldn't just pick your best players off you. So go on, Ben. Who else would you like to steal from Lincoln after Arahan?
I mean, there's a lot gone out, aren't there? I mean,
all right. No need.
I think if you'd have asked me this a week ago, my answer would have been pretty easy. I'd have gone for James Collins just because we had absolutely zero presence of any kind up front. I think Burstow is coming into his own, and I think as we bring players back from injury, that issue might subsidise a little bit. So I feel a bit of a cop-out, but I mentioned when we had Alex on previously that number 10 spot is a little bit of a concern for me. We've not got a nailed-on starter, it doesn't feel like. We're still waiting to see what Randall could do. Maybe it would be Jack Moylan if his legs were intact.
Crocked, mate. He's crocked. He's no good.
But yeah, excluding injuries, it would be him. But possibly James Collins as well. If we're excluding injuries, just because we need that goal threat up front, that clinical edge that feels like has been missing for a little bit, and I'm hoping will be not another season of talking points, because I'm really bored of saying we need a striker and we need to have someone who can find the back of the net.
Yeah. On that note, to be honest, I would probably lean towards James Collins. Yeah, just because, I mean, as Jake said, he's the best number 9 in the league, so obviously.
That's my opinion. I don't, in terms of an all-out action number 9, I don't know anyone that can do the job as well-rounded as Collins. That's my opinion. I don't hate it.
Yeah. Obviously, he scored goals at this level before, and I thought when you signed him, he was a decent signing. We could have done with him, but yeah,
I thought you were linked with him, weren't you, at the time, or something?
I think we were, very briefly, and we chose Keona Tete instead, which turned out great.
What a great recruitment team you've got in charge, by the way.
They've gone now.
God, they pick some right characters, don't they?
Yeah,
Christ.
Yeah. I think Tete was the one that the straw that broke the camel's back, really.
You paid $500,000 for Vic as well.
Yeah. Anyway, who would I have? Either James Collins or Rob Street. Obviously, Rob Street's playing off the right for you this season, isn't he? Kind of in that Makama role.
Baller.
But, yeah, he played up front for Donny last season and scored quite a few. I think that's who I would go with, to be honest. I very rudely missed out the stat man before, so sorry, Cal.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
Here you are, mate. Yes, I don't have his file uploaded, as we were saying before. So
the second preview of the night, second Statman video of the night. Now, just before we get into the Lincoln preview, as I'm sure you'll understand, my voice has deteriorated slightly. This is take 3 of the Lincoln preview. Now, it normally is only one take. However, I have got through the entire video twice as my storage has died, and I have to face the camera the other way, so I don't know how much storage it has. So that is very frustrating. But anyway, as much as I just want to scream and possibly throw my iPad out the window, we will move on to the Lincoln preview. Come on, we love the football. Let's get into it. Anyway, they've won 2, lost 1 in their opening 3 fixtures, including a 3-2 win against Plymouth Argyle and a 2-0 win against Reading, who, of course, you are going to be playing very, very soon Now, you will be able to make some comparisons there. However, not until after the Reading game, really. Of course, I am not a time-travelling individual, and they are playing another game before you play them on the weekend against Northampton. They're playing tomorrow night. As of recording, pretty sure it's the same for you. But, yes, I don't even know where I'm going to try. I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore. The head is gone, I'll be completely honest. Take 3 with a croaky voice. This is a difficult task, I'll be completely honest. And all the jokes I want to make, I've already made, so it's just not funny anymore. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? I'm sure you can have a good laugh in the live chat. So, let's have a look at how they actually play and see if I can say it without slightly slurring my words. They are a completely different test to Reading. Completely. Because Reading love the football, as I've said before. And Lincoln play like it's a bit of a hot potato. They absolutely despise the football. I do not know what the football said to them personally, but clearly it was something quite outrageous because they have no special feelings for it at all. Anyway, I don't even know what joke I'm trying to make there, but still, they average 37% possession so far this season in each game, which is the least in League One. I'm sure that'll come as no surprise. But yeah, so it is going to be a very back and forth end-to-end game, and that is always a cracking watch, is it not? Just to add to the transitional factor, they do like to play long quite often with 25 long balls a game, and that is quite a lot. And it's a very similar story when it comes to crosses with almost 4 per game. So yeah, it'll be an interesting game when they do decide that they actually want to play some football and not just kick it long at every opportunity. But when they have got the ball, they are decent because they create 2 big chances a game, which is, I mean, that's pretty superb, to be completely honest. But they do tend to miss 1 a game, which is quite normal. It might not sound good, but it is reasonably normal. And they have got a very good striker up front in Mr. James Collins, obviously a veteran of EFL football, as is David McGoldrick. And he did cause you some issues, so maybe Collins will as well. But obviously, he's a different player, so maybe not. Defensively, then, and I'm praying that my storage is still going, because if I have to record this one more time, I will cry. But yeah, defensively, they are very high for interceptions numbers, as are you. They average 8.3 per game, which is quite a lot. I'm pretty sure it's 4th in League One. But you are 2nd in League One with 9.3 interceptions per game. So again, it's going to be very, very transitional, and that is superb watching. Absolutely stupendous. Just to sound a bit like Mike Tyson. They do make the most clearances per game as well. So again, they are just going to kick it long quite often. Apologies if any Lincoln fans are watching, because I am just slandering you a bit here. But it is true. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's good for, it can work, and it is working for you. So yeah, but yeah, they like to reset before they press the ball, really. They like to get a 4. I'm pretty sure it is going to be another 4-4-2 block, as you do. I've not checked that completely, to be honest. But either way, they like to get set in a defensive structure before making an effort to win the ball back. And there is nothing wrong with that, because you do something very similar. The main issue you're going to have in this game is breaking down their block, because you have struggled with it already this season when the Barnsley midfielder got sent off. Again, I'm not going to try to say his name, that's the point. But yeah, when they got sent off, they sat off a bit, and you did struggle to break it down. And you could argue you should have won that game. You probably should have won that game. But hey ho, you didn't. We're moving on. The season goes on. It's a long year. It'll be all right. But yeah, so breaking them down is going to be the main thing. And then what do you do to help breaking them down, Statman? I can hear you all crying out. Well, the team selection is very, very important. For me, I'm picking OC22 at right back because he just adds another number to the attack. He can hold the width on the right, or you can even come inside a little bit. And Dakaris Cogley just can't do that to the same extent. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's just not as an attacking minded, which is fine. But yeah, I debate doing that, and the voice is going, wow, I'm doing my best here. I'm going to keep going. You could play Randall and McAtee in the same midfield as well, but that would be incredibly ballsy. But you could do it. They are creative players. They would help break it down. It's ballsy, but it could work. It also could backfire tremendously. So, you know, it's the fine line. Their main weakness when they're attacking. Wow, I am dying here. I don't know if it's come across on the video, but I'm struggling. Their left back does like to get forward when they're attacking sometimes, and that can leave space on your right wing, of course, and that did happen in the Barnsley game with Ogbetter. It won't be anywhere near like that because Ogbetter was basically playing as a left winger, but Koziodubri's pace could definitely be utilised. I can already see them having a bit of a long shot. Easy gather for Sharman Lowe. He either throws it or does like one of them side volleys out to Koziodubre, touch, past the defender, cross the box, Burstow's there. If that happens, please do send me a fiver because I mean that would be pretty impressive, would it not? But yeah, I can see it happening. Let's put it that way. And that is all I've got to say. Hopefully, the video has actually recorded this time, and I will not have to do this again. Hopefully, but either way, I will see you very soon for the review of both games. Of course, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show and the rest of your weeks. So see you soon. Very goodbye.
I absolutely love a very goodbye, by the way. Our Statman never fails to amaze me. He is exceptional. And I also find I would have loved to be a fly on the wall if the hypothetical situation of him recording and talking for 10 minutes had actually cut out after 2 without him realising. But yeah, excellent as ever from our Statman. But Jake, we'll hand over to you. What were your thoughts on our Statman? I see your ears pricked up talking about the left back.
I'm thinking, has he actually watched us at all this season? Riley Towler, the left back, barely goes over the halfway line. So good luck with that attacking left back that we've got. Yeah, that'll be exciting. But no, I think he actually brings up quite a good debate actually because he spoke there a little bit about physicality and the fact that we're quite a long ball team and things like that. And he says there's nothing wrong with it, which I completely agree with. We had Tom Cleverley in the build-up to our game on Saturday basically say Lincoln are just a direct long ball team acting as if it was the wrong way to play football. And when it suits you, I think you should do that. I think you should play the way whatever suits you best to win games. Ironically, he said we're going to set our team up for a fight and we literally just steamrolled them for 70 minutes. So if you guys are going to pretend to be physical and let us steamroll you, that's going to be fantastic because that's what we'll do. I think it's certainly nice when you know what you are. I said this with Nappers last night. We're comfortable in our own skin. We know exactly what we are, and we're not ashamed by it. So if other people want to down tool us and say you're just a long ball merchant team, yeah, because it bloody wins games. So who cares? Let's move on. But the left back's not very attacking, but so he's got that wrong. I did have a word with him this afternoon. Was it this morning or this afternoon? He did warn me that was going to be quite a controversial stat pack. So. I'm glad we've got through that in as least controversy as possible.
Brilliant.
Bless you.
I'm talking to myself.
Well, not again, surely.
Yeah, as you say, it is nice when you know what you are in an age where there's a load of teams. I mean, we tried it for a few years. A load of teams towards the low end of the pyramid that try and play a different style of football, one that maybe you don't have the players for. And you're right, the teams that know what they are, know what their strengths are, and play to it, just steamroll them.
It's woke, mate, isn't it? It's woke.
Yeah,
utter woke nonsense.
Yeah, we're past that now, I think. But yeah, so an hour and 17 minutes in. Don't have a go at me, Ben. We're too far past it now, so we may as well just carry on having a laugh.
Keep plodding along, yeah. I mean, the preview show is usually about 40 minutes long, half an hour on a good run, so we're on time.
Apart from when I'm on it, it's normally about an hour when I come on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think that says something, doesn't it?
That's Colin's fault. Sorry,
yeah. So yeah, let's jump in to the final segment. Let's have a little prediction. Line of Vienna, just enjoying the tunes every time it's coming on. I'm loving it. So I'm gonna leave the guest till last. Ben, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen on Saturday?
I think everything hinges on what happens on Wednesday, which is a bit of a cop-out answer.
Yeah, give me a real answer.
Beat Reading, we'll beat these. Don't beat Reading, I don't beat these. That's my prediction. In all fairness, I think Lincoln will prove to be a tougher test than Reading. I think Reading is a very youthful side, and with that comes a little bit of perhaps naivety. I hope, I think away from home, a midweek game in what is probably going to be a pretty congested period for them. You know, having to play a lot of games with a youthful side, I think might play into our hands a little bit. We've got a pretty good squad. We're in a good position in terms of players coming back from injury and players match fitness, where I think we can afford to make a couple of changes without being completely ballsed up, which we might have been last season. So, yeah, I think we'll win 1-0.
1-0. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, I do agree. This week is. I mean, it's. I don't want to say it's a big week for 5 games into the season, but it feels like a very significant week to see where we are as a team. Look, we've played 3 games already against, well, one team who people thought would be in and around it, but have had a terrible start in Plymouth, and 2 teams that I'm pretty sure will be in and around the top 6 in Stockport and Barnsley, and performed not terribly in any of them. Performed pretty well in 2 of them, I would say, and 1 of them kind of okay. 4 points on the board out of them 3 games, you kind of think, yeah, fair enough. And now you look at your next 2 and you've got 2 teams at home, which if you want to finish top 6, if you want to push a promotion, you have to be beaten, really. So it's one of them. If we end the week, we have to be. We have to be. If at the end of the week we're 2 out of 2 wins, we're happy and we're on 10 points from 5 games, 2 points per game, and it's all rosy. But
then I've got that Kevin Keegan clip.
I will love it. Go on, you can recreate if you want.
No, I'm a realist, mate. I'm not. I do think though that us having an extra day to recover is actually going to probably benefit us at least. And like I say, the fact that we probably are going to have another one or certainly another body in the building by the time we play on Saturday. So I think that might go in our favour. And if we win at Northampton on Tuesday tomorrow, like I'm expecting, then we're going to be coming to the tough sheet, whatever the bloody hell you want to call it nowadays.
You're right.
It's the bowl thing, yeah. With the bowl thing with a Wingstop next to it, which I'll be visiting. I think we'll be coming in with lots of confidence, even though we don't have a great record at your ground. I mean, I think I've been 4 or 5 times, never seen us win, and seen us score 1 goal. So great record personally at your ground. But things like that are there to be broken. And if we win on Tuesday, if we beat Northampton pretty convincingly, then I don't see a reason why maybe we can't come to Bolton and shock you, because that's just what Lincoln do. We tend to beat the better teams and lose to the crap ones down the bottom. That's just traditionally what we do. So yeah, I think it's going to be tough. I think I'm a realist. I think we're probably going to end up getting beat. But I think it's probably going to be a bit closer due to the fact we have an extra 24 hours. And the fact I think we're going to be coming in with confidence and new bodies that maybe you guys, I can't imagine you guys have got scouts over in the Czech Premier League watching Ivan as we speak. I'd be very surprised if you even know who he is. So, yeah, maybe that element of surprise as well might be able to stunt you.
Yeah, I can confirm no idea who you're on about. So, yeah, let's see.
You wait. You'll be buying him off us in 2 years for 750 grand.
You didn't know who he was a week ago.
Hey? I'm an expert on the Czech Premier League now, mate. Just trust me.
Of course.
I think for Ukrainian internationals, right?
Yeah. Everyone dreams of playing football for Ukraine, don't they?
And then for Lincoln as well.
Exactly.
I'm not sure which is better, the front line in Ukraine or
at least the bloke's not going to get conscripted. You know what I mean? The front line in Kiev or the lovely Brayford, where there's a Nando's and a Five Guys. What more could you want?
I think you just sold it to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to move in, Ben? I need a lodger. Do you want to move in and cheaper?
I heard Lincoln's got a cathedral, hasn't it?
Oh, it's beautiful, man. Beautiful. I don't ever really go on about it. I don't talk about it very often, but it is one I'd love to show you around.
It's been 40 minutes and no mention yet, so I think that's probably the longest you've gone. So, yeah, fair play. I think going back to the game,
the longest I've gone. Don't worry, it very much is the longest I've ever gone.
Yeah.
I ain't got that in me, McQuaid.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But yeah,
Right. In that case, we're going to bloody batter you 5-0. I'm going to give Ethan some stick, and it's going to be a great bloody day out. Have it.
Yeah. So you predicted a loss anyway, Ben.
2-1.
2-1. Yeah, fair enough. I'm gonna go for. I think Wills at the minute is kind of a floodgates. What's the word? Situation where I think if we get an early goal, break the shackles and go on and score a few because we, yeah. If anyone cares about him.
Ouch.
We've had quite a few chances in every game so far, and it's been a bit of
you wish, Jordan, mate.
Jordan
Slogan to take a shot on target. Honestly, the safest bet is Ethan to get sent off rather than score a goal.
Now, please, everybody watching this, please click this in the hope that Ethan scores a 35-yard screamer in the 91st minute.
I don't think he goes 35 yards near the goal, mate.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna go for a 3-1. I think some people are an early goal, and then as I say, floodgates open a bit. We'll see. But the extra 24 hours is a good point because at the minute we only have, as you say, Dobby was back training. You say back training? I think you said back on the grass anyway. But yeah, I wouldn't bank on him playing a load of minutes on Saturday unless we see him tomorrow night. So we do have just one fit striker in the building. So if Burstow has to play 70 minutes tomorrow night and then has to start front on Saturday, Wednesday night, and then start front on Saturday, it'd be interesting to see what his fitness levels are about. But yeah, look, I'm confident. I'm with you. If we win convincingly tomorrow night, I'll be well up for it. And 2 wins out of 2, I'm saying 10 points after 5 games, that'd be pretty nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, Jake, just before you go, we had a comment from David before. It was very, very kind. He just put, value Jake's opinion a lot.
Thanks, David.
Where are Bolton finishing this season?
Have you seen my 1-24 that I put on Twitter?
Well, yeah, but
sorry, yes, I'll elaborate. I did this after you signed Arahan. I've got you 3rd this year.
Nice.
However, I do think, having looked at that, I would maybe knock you down to 4th because I put Stockport in 4th, and I think they're better than you. Not only did they beat you the other week, but like they've just signed Brad Hills, who's pretty good, and they've got a pretty good team. So yeah, I think it's a playoff finish for Bolton this year. Which I think you'd take. I know I predicted you in the playoffs last year, didn't I? And I know you, McQuaid, you were like saying, "Oh, not the bloody playoffs again." It'd be a nightmare. I think you'd be delighted if you finished in them this year. So
yeah, I'll take it.
I think a 4th place finish would be a good one for Bolton.
You had Bolton, Stockport, Blackpool, and Wickham in your playoff spots.
I did, mate. He's got it
have you been? I do my research. Have you been brave enough to put a playoff winner in there?
Yeah, Stockport win him.
Try again.
Stop. No, I'll try again. Stockport. They're just very Stockport are very complete, and that's not. It's not a bad thing. They're just. I think they're a little bit further along in their journey of getting out of this league than you are. Shuey obviously has come in, and I think you're on maybe a 2-year project to get out of League One. I think Stockport are in year 2 of that project to get out of League One, and you can tell with the money they've spent. So it's not a bad thing. I don't think you'll go to Wembley. I think it'll be a Blackpool-Stockport playoff final.
Yeah, fair enough. Can't really argue with that. I think I had us 4th as well. So yeah, can't argue.
Struggle for a ticket in that, wouldn't I? Blackpool and Stockport, Christ.
Yeah.
Oh no, Napa's get me a ticket. What am I on about? Season ticket holder, isn't he? Blackpool. He's a good lad.
Yeah, he's second club. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
Yeah. So yeah, there we have it. An hour and a half gone. Lovely evening. What else would you want to do on a Monday night than talk about Bolton and Lincoln and Reading?
Yeah, Monday night football. This is what it's about.
Yeah, who cares? I've literally not even checked the score.
Yeah, what was the score of that? Was it Leeds Everton, right?
Yeah.
I'll have a look.
Sure. It's
0-0 after 70 minutes.
Brilliant. Why would anyone bother watching that? So yeah, thank you everyone to have watched for 156
Just
tonight.
before we do finish, you
you take
reminded
over.
me with Leeds and Everton that Beto is in my fantasy team and currently doing NAFL, which is wonderful. If you haven't joined the Fanzone Podcast Fantasy Football League, then do exactly that. Get yourself in the FPL. Because I'm not just saying this because I'm second, right? And I've had an absolutely cracking game week. But get yourself in the fantasy league. Head over to our Twitter and you'll find an invite link.
Is that the fantasy EFL one or the FPL?
The FPL.
Oh, you're such Premier League wannabes, you lot, aren't you? Just because you've been in there once,
we'll be there
get over yourself, chaps.
If there's any question, James Collins would be in my EFL one.
Good, he should be because he's going to score twice.
Yeah, not for this week though.
No. Subbed off this week.
His next goal, by the way, will be his 200th goal in the EFL. So
I can't wait for him to get it after he plays.
Can't wait for him to do it and celebrate right in front of you, Timbo. Have some of
that. So yeah, there we have it. Love the episode as always. Thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you like the bumper episodes. It's the first double header we've done this season. Let us know if you prefer it this way. I mean, I think we prefer it this way. It means we don't go live pretty much every night of the week. Yeah. Let us know how you think it went. Let us know if you like the new mid rolls like Jake seems to have done, or if you just laugh at them. But yeah, cheers for joining us. Thanks again, Jake, for joining us. Give yourself a little plug if you need it.
God, if you don't know who I am by now, what's the point? I'm basically like the sixth member of the Fanzone podcast at this point, aren't I? Yeah, Jake here for the Lincoln podcast. I'm sure the chaps will be kind enough to put my links in the description, Twitter, and come and check us out. We're a Lincoln podcast. We'll do a preview. Me and McQuaid are recording on Wednesday, aren't we, Ben, at 11 to do a preview. So that will go out on Thursday. We'll have a review of the game next week as well. And also, if you'd want to come and talk about League One, Sunday Night Live, League One Live with Nap Dog. It's the place to be, really. I know you're depressed about being in League One, but it's good fun. So enjoy it. Come and check me out.
Jake is such an advocate of the Fanzone podcast. He actually joins us when there's no relevancy and no need for him to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just what I do, mate.
Which episode was it last season where you came just to laugh at Colin?
Birmingham, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was Birmingham. I'm probably going to do it this year at some point. I've got plenty of friends that you guys have on, so I might just see if I can get the link and annoy Colin again. That was quite fun.
We will. We'll make sure to send it over.
It's always good fun. Yeah, cheers. Good luck for the season after Saturday, of course. Well, good luck tomorrow night. See what happens, and then after Saturday, after Arahan scored the winner, you can hopefully.
To you, mate. You're obsessed, you lot. You're just little old Lincoln, obsessed. Honestly, you're Bolton Wanderers Football Club. Get over yourselves. Come on. Having a go at me. Jesus.
They're not having a go. Just predicting what's going to happen. We'll see.
Focus on your own house, McQuaid. Do you know what I mean? Not the little greenhouse out the back.
But yeah, cheers for coming, mate. It's always a pleasure. And thanks to everyone for watching. We'll see you next time.